$1,000 reward is being offered by Crime Stoppers, and it's for any information leading to an arrest in either of the two shootings that occurred Friday night in Chicago. Some aldermen also say they plan to revisit the snap curfew. The young man killed was 14-year-old Armani Floyd. He and an 18-year-old were shot numerous times on Dearborn and Adams, but 7 other teens were shot near the Chicago Theater just before 10. The youngest just 13. They're all going to be okay. Alderman Brian Hopkins says police were injured too by youth using mace and stun guns on officers. What was supposed to be a celebration of the season turned to chaos. Alderman Hopkins says there was great support for a curfew to help prevent teen trends before, and believes after the weekend bloodshed there will be even more support. But people we talked to in the Loop have mixed feelings about that.
I think the curfew could be a good idea. I think that there should be honestly more police on the streets and maybe in the trains as well. It's getting more and more ridiculous every year at the holidays it happens, so anything that could help would be great, but I think more police would be fantastic.
I don't know if a curfew is going to solve the problems that we have. I mean, I think the violence is going to happen either way. I don't think that the teenagers are necessarily, a large amount of teenagers are causing the problem. I think we need to look more into gun regulations and what the law enforcement is doing.
Alderman Hopkins says the challenge now is to change that snap curfew ordinance enough to win approval from Mayor Brandon Johnson, who previously vetoed the measure. Meantime, the family of Armani Floyd is making plans for a funeral. They have set up a GoFundMe page, which has raised more than $1,000 in honor and memory of the teen. In the Loop, Roseanne Tejas, Fox 32, Chicago.
One of the women involved in the infamous Slender Man stabbing attack in Wisconsin has been recaptured after she left a group home. Morgan Geyser was taken into custody in Illinois last night. She was found at a truck stop in Posen. Police in Madison, Wisconsin say she cut off her monitor bracelet and left a group home on Saturday night. She and another teen were 12 years old when they stabbed their classmate in 2014 to please a fictional horror character named Slender Man.
Police in Aurora say a deadly shooting at a restaurant on Saturday night was related to domestic violence. The doors at the Two Brothers Roundhouse restaurant were back open yesterday, but they opened later than usual at 3 o'clock in the afternoon instead of 7 a.m. A man and woman were killed and another was wounded during a shooting just after 9 on Saturday night. Police say the man who is believed to be the shooter is among those who died. They say all 3 people appeared to know each other. We spoke to one woman who ate at the restaurant yesterday.
I didn't really know about it, but anything could happen anywhere, and you just can't be afraid to go out.
The Two Brothers Roundhouse posted on Facebook that it remains fully committed to providing a safe, welcoming, and comfortable experience for all, and that it will continue its regular hours.
Chicago police are looking for 2 suspects who sexually assaulted a woman on the north side. Take a look here. They released these images of the men, and police say the victim and her friend were walking in Ravenswood Manor Friday night when the suspects chased after them. They say one of the suspects threatened a victim with a knife. The other suspect then dragged the victim into an alley and sexually assaulted her at gunpoint. If you have any information, please contact Area 5 detectives. We're getting an update on the health of Reverend Jesse Jackson. His family says he remains in stable condition and is still being cared for at Northwestern Memorial Hospital. He's been at Northwestern Memorial Hospital for more than 2 weeks for a neurological disorder called PSP. The condition is related to his 2023 diagnosis of Parkinson's syndrome.
We now turn to the latest on the war between Russia and Ukraine. President Trump is seeming optimistic following productive talks over the weekend to end the conflict.
Ukrainian and American officials are expected to continue those talks today in Geneva. But there is concern about whether a deal will favor Russia too much. Caroline Shively has more.
After giving Ukraine a Thanksgiving deadline to accept a peace deal, President Trump posted this cryptic message on Monday. Quote, "Is it really possible that big progress is being made in peace talks between Russia and Ukraine? Don't believe it until you see it, but something good just may be happening."
We're trying to get it ended one way or the other, we have to get it ended. So
Trump's original plan would reportedly require Ukraine to give up more territory to Russia, grant amnesty to Russians accused of war crimes, and agree never to join NATO.
This initial plan would be a total capitulation by Ukraine. I think it would go down, frankly, as a historically bad deal.
Ukrainian officials are pushing to remove those provisions.
We will continue explaining how dangerous it is to pretend that aggression is something one can simply overlook and move on.
Russian officials say many aspects of the plan are acceptable for the Kremlin, but others still need more detailed discussion, including possible security guarantees for Ukraine.
We've got Putin on the other side of it, and the reality is he has not taken one single step towards a temporary ceasefire or a peace deal whatsoever.
That hard deadline of Thursday may be softening. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said it may take longer to strike a deal with Ukraine. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox 32, Chicago.
Well, the Bears just keep on winning. Sunday's victory against the Steelers marked the 4th victory in a row.
hell yeah! It takes a village, and I'm talking about players. I'm talking about coaches. I'm talking about training staff. I'm talking about everybody in this building. It would have been so easy to walk. Man, how are we going to win this game? We got no linebacker. This guy stepped up. He wore the green dot. He had us going all game long. DJ, come on, baby.
The Bears pumped with the win. They remain in first place in the NFC North. They had a 10-point lead in the 4th quarter and barely hung on. It took until the last snap to secure that win. Bears holding on 31-29. They have won 4 straight and 8 of their last 9.
The easy thing is to say, woe is me, and our guys didn't do that. They just stepped up and kept battling through. It happens to most teams each season too, where your depth gets tested, and it just so happens it was this week for us.
Ben preaches us fighting in those close games, and it's just not the same old Bears.
We're an 8-3 team in the National Football League, and so we feel good where we're at, but we do got to get better. And I would say, yeah, we don't feel like we're the same old Bears. We pull through for each other when it matters most.
6 games to go, and the Bears still have 3 divisional matchups on the schedule, including 2 against the Packers. But first, their toughest test of the season, the defending Super Bowl champs, the Eagles, Friday afternoon at 2 p.m. You can watch that right here on Fox 32.
More news right here on Fox 32 News at noon. A Hollywood star opening up about his health struggles. The scary reasons why Donald Glover says he had to cancel his world tour last year.
The U.S. reportedly getting set for a new phase of operations against the Maduro regime in Venezuela. I'm Lucas Tomlinson in Trinidad. I'll have the details coming up.
The U.S. continues its buildup of military presence in the Caribbean as the Trump administration reportedly prepares for its next phase of operations against the Venezuelan president.
Lucas Tomlinson has more from Trinidad.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro dancing to his "No War, Yes Peace" speech as the Trump administration ramps up its war on narco-terrorists. The State Department is now designating a cartel linked to Maduro as a foreign terrorist organization, opening up the door for possible strikes in Venezuela.
The Maduro regime survives because of the largesse and the muscle of these drug cartels. So if the drug cartels go out of business, so does the Maduro regime.
Over the weekend, new FAA warnings led several international airlines to cancel flights into Venezuela after American F-18 Super Hornets were spotted flying off the coast. And according to a Reuters report, the U.S. is ready to launch its next phase of military operations that would likely begin with covert action inside the country.
Venezuela was a major point for Russian and Chinese infiltration. We cannot allow our greatest geopolitical rival in Beijing to have a presence in our neighborhood.
About a third of deployed American warships are now stationed in the Caribbean. But the White House is still facing questions from some lawmakers over whether its strikes on suspected drug smuggling boats in the region are legal.
Decisions to go to war in the Caribbean, Venezuela, which are strictly within the purview of Congress, and Congress needs to be making those decisions and debating it.
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff has arrived in Puerto Rico to meet with the forces taking part in Operation Southern Spear. In Trinidad, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox 32, Chicago.
The Department of Justice is asking a federal court in Florida to release the grand jury transcripts related to the initial federal investigation of Jeffrey Epstein. The DOJ's request follows last week's passage by Congress of the Epstein Files Transparency Act, requiring the release of all records within 30 days. Epstein died by suicide in 2019 while awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking charges. A U.S. appeals court is hearing arguments today in the Associated Press's battle with President Trump over access. The AP claiming Trump retaliated against them because the media outlet refused to call the Gulf of Mexico by his preferred name for it, which is the Gulf of America. They say this violates freedom of the press. In April, a lower court ordered the White House to let AP journalists return to the Oval Office and other news spaces to cover news events.
We have sad news coming out of the music world. Reggae star Jimmy Cliff has died.
You can get it if you really want. You can get it if you really want. You can get it if you really want. But you must try, try and try, try and try. You'll succeed at last.
Well, you likely know this song, and Cliff also made hits like The Harder They Come, which was also a movie. He recorded a wildly popular version of I Can See Clearly Now. Cliff was from Jamaica. He helped lead the reggae movement in the 1960s. His family says he died from a seizure followed by pneumonia. He was 81.
Let's take a live look outside on this overcast Monday. What can we expect for the rest of the day? Caitlin.
So the big picture is this morning we had fog, dense fog in a few locations. We still have quite a bit of cloud cover out there, but this afternoon and this evening especially, we have the chance for a few sprinkles to be around. The temperatures, though, they're really not bad. Looking at our futurecast, again, highs in the low to mid 50s. It is going to be a dreary looking day, though, and we do have that light scattered rain potential that's going to continue throughout the night and even into tomorrow. But tonight, temperatures stay elevated in the 40s, so a mild night ahead. Tomorrow, scattered showers. We could even see some fog to start off your Tuesday. And then a cold front is moving through, and that's drastically going to change our weather as we head into Wednesday. So today and tomorrow, very mild, but then on Wednesday, notice how the green turn over to blue. We could see a few speckles of snow. Some snow flurries are possible on Wednesday, as highs are going to be in the 30s. It's also going to be very windy on Wednesday. We could see winds around 40 to 45 miles per hour at times because this cold front moves through. And then after that, we're staying in the 30s. So here's your 5-day outlook. Again, normal high today, 45. We're down to 39 Wednesday. Thursday, for Thanksgiving, dry skies, but a high of freezing. So most of the day on Thursday is going to be in the 20s. And then on Friday, 33. Friday night into Saturday, that's when the chance for snow returns, and even accumulating snowfall is possible for us in Chicagoland. I'll show you your full 7-day forecast ahead.
The NBA gambling scandal is heading to federal court today. Portland Trail Blazers coach and Basketball Hall of Famer Chauncey Billups is set to appear in a New York court. He's facing charges that he profited from rigged poker games involving several mafia figures. He'll be arraigned on money laundering and wire fraud conspiracy charges. After his arrest in October, Billups was placed on unpaid leave.
Actor and performer Donald Glover is now opening up about a health condition that made him cancel his world tour last year. Glover says after 18 shows, he went to the doctor after having a bad pain in his head. He was told he suffered a stroke, and doctors discovered he had a hole in his heart, causing him to have another surgery. Glover says he wants nothing more than to bring his show to the fans, thanking them for their love, privacy, and support.
The granddaughter of President John F. Kennedy has revealed she has terminal cancer. 35-year-old Tatiana Schlossberg is the daughter of Caroline Kennedy and Edwin Schlossberg. She announced her diagnosis in an essay published by The New Yorker. Her doctors have told her she is battling a rare form of leukemia and has less than 1 year to live. She is the mother of a 3-year-old son and an 18-month-old daughter. As public health officials investigate more than 30 cases of infant botulism, they may need to look back a few months. This is part of an outbreak linked to ByHeart baby formula, which started in August. The company has since recalled all of its products in connection with the outbreak. But now some parents are saying their children got sick before August, with one parent saying her child was fed the formula and got sick in April.
A product warning to tell you about this afternoon. A piece of children's furniture sold on Amazon now being recalled.
The reason officials say it poses a serious injury risk.
And we are just 3 days away from Thanksgiving, but those family dinners can also lead to people getting sick. An infectious disease doctor shares the best ways to stop the spread of germs. Well, we all know there's no place like home for the holidays. You might miss out on spending Turkey Day with friends and family this year if you end up getting sick.
Krista Mayo spoke with an infectious disease doctor on the best ways to stop the spread of germs.
With Thanksgiving approaching, many people might be showing gratitude for their health. But with weather getting cooler and folks planning to attend more indoor functions, doctors say the chances for catching respiratory illnesses are going up. Young children, the elderly, and those with compromised immune systems can face higher risks. But there's some strategies to help keep your body's defenses strong.
If you haven't gotten your flu vaccine, get it, as well as your COVID vaccine.
Besides staying up to date with vaccines, many doctors are stressing the importance of sticking to a solid sleep schedule, even though it can be hard if you'll be traveling a lot.
If you're feeling less tired, you're not going to be getting as sick.
And if you're taking public transportation to your holiday destinations, using hand sanitizer and wearing a face mask can add extra protection.
In case you are sitting beside someone that might be starting to cough a lot, you don't know if they're getting over an illness or coming down with an illness.
Hosts can also leave windows cracked for extra airflow and encourage their guests to frequently wash their hands. But if you or someone you know is feeling sick,
you don't want to be the reason that a whole gathering of people get sick afterwards. So if you are sick, stay home.
Meanwhile, doctors also say regular exercise could be a great way to de-stress and strengthen your immune system this season. Chris DeMayo, Fox News.
Well, Thanksgiving usually means eating humongous meals, right? And for those on GLP-1 drugs who are thinking of pausing them for the holidays, doctors say that can come with some risks. They say the body can go through a lot of changes when these medications are stopped, like impacts to blood sugar levels, and that can be especially problematic for those taking the medications for both weight loss and diabetes. Doctors say pausing the GLP-1s can also lead to overeating.
The hunger sensation will start to come back more than usual, so people may actually overeat a little bit, and that can actually cause problems like nausea and other issues too.
In addition, health experts say there's a risk a person's body may stop responding to the drugs when they start taking them again. So instead of quitting them cold turkey, they say, talk to your doctor.
A piece of children's furniture sold on Amazon is being recalled over the risk of serious injury or even death. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission says the affected play yards manufactured by retailer Anna Queen violate the mandatory standard for play yards. Babies could end up getting trapped under the mattress or between the side of the product. The agency says the play yards contain black fabric sides, mesh panels bordered in gray, and a multicolored bear print on the top rails and mattress. They were sold on Amazon starting in March of this year for around $100. Around 70 affected play yards were sold.
It is yet another sign of the holidays. The Medina Shriners kicking off their annual Festival of Trees.
We're going to give you a look at that incredible display.
And Caitlin is tracking just how cold it's going to get for Thanksgiving.
Keep your eye.
Welcome back, everyone. Here's a look at some of the top stories we're following for you this afternoon.
The criminal case against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James has been dropped. The judge in the case saying the prosecutor who brought the charges at President Donald Trump's urging was illegally appointed by the Justice Department. The orders make Lindsay Halligan, the latest Trump administration prosecutor, to be disqualified because of the manner in which they were appointed.
Illinois Congresswoman Lauren Underwood visited the Broadview ICE facility today. She is believed to be the first congressperson allowed inside. There is ongoing litigation about the conditions for detainees there. Large demonstrations have also taken place over the past few months to protest the Trump administration's immigration policies.
Cook County Crime Stoppers offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to an arrest in connection with Friday night shootings in the Loop. 14-year-old Armani Floyd died. 8 others were wounded in a pair of shootings in the area. The first happened near the Chicago Theater at around 10 o'clock Friday night. The second one near Adams and Dearborn Streets about a half hour later. The youngest victim, just 13 years old.
Let's take a live look outside. Overcast skies. Meteorologist Caitlin Cody standing by with the forecast. Caitlin.
We had a lovely weekend, and today we have mostly cloudy skies. We had fog this morning. Still, the clouds are hanging low. It is going to be a dreary gray rest of our day with a small chance for some wet weather, especially as we get towards this evening and tonight. But mild conditions today as well as tomorrow. That's our #1 headline because we have drastic change happening on Wednesday when highs are only going to be in the 30s, and then we stay in the 30s through the weekend, meaning Thanksgiving is going to be chilly. But we also have the chance for snow returning this weekend, too. So travel back to your destination at home or wherever you're going. If you're traveling this weekend, you may be impacted by snow. First of all, today, again, it's gray out there. Radar is quiet so far, though, and the chance for rain is going to slowly increase by this evening. Some scattered light areas of rain. Temperatures are expected to be in the 50s for most of us. I'm going 52 for us at O'Hare, which is above our normal high of 45. Tonight, we stay mild in the mid to upper 40s, so tomorrow morning it's not going to be too chilly, and in fact we're back to the 50s in the afternoon. Looking at our futurecast again, we have the chance for some scattered light rain showers, especially this evening and tonight. Tomorrow morning we could see some fog to start, and then a cold front is going to swing on by, and that's going to bring us the potential for a few snow flurries, also very gusty wind and cold temperatures. We are settling into a pattern after Wednesday of the 30s. Here's your 7-day outlook. So 39 degrees expected Wednesday. Thursday, it's Thanksgiving. A high of about 32 after a morning low of 25. Very cold on Thanksgiving. Friday, 33 is our high, and then we are watching for the potential of accumulating snowfall Friday into Saturday. And highs this weekend will be in the upper 30s, so we're below normal. We have the return chance of some wet weather, including a rain-snow mix on Sunday, too. So snow accumulation possible this weekend. We'll keep you up to date with the latest forecast. In the meantime, today, it is going to be a mild one. I encourage you to go outside, enjoy these 50s, because once we get cold, we get very cold, especially as we wrap up the week. And as far as the rain goes this evening, you may have to get that windshield wiper going. Every once in a while, scattered light rain showers are expected.
Caitlin, thank you. Beautifully decorated holiday trees are on full display at the Medina Shrine Center.
Gabriella Primus is in Addison as that community is celebrating this wonderful holiday tradition.
I know once you walk in, you are surrounded by these lit up trees, and guess what? They can go to your house, actually. I'm with Tracy with Medina Shriners. Thank you so much for joining us and having us here. Tell us about this event, the Festival of Trees.
Absolutely. So this is our 3rd annual Medina Shriners Festival of Trees. So when you come into our rotunda, you're going to be able to see our trees in the background. So the way this works is we have 45 fully decorated trees in this room here, each with their unique theme, and each with a value of at least $500.
Wow.
The admission to get into this is free. So when you come in, you're going to be able to buy raffle tickets for as little as 50 cents. If you buy 100 raffle tickets, you can get them for $50. So then you're going to come in here and you'll see we have candy cane receptacles by each tree. So if you see a tree you like, you drop your raffle tickets into each of these. And then this Saturday, November 29th at 8 o'clock, we're going to draw 45 winners. They win the tree, the gifts, everything that comes with it. Again, each one of them are worth at least $500.
And it's my favorite four-letter word, and I think people at home too. Free to come in, and it's happening until Saturday. We also have Rupert Solis here with us too, with Medina Shriners. You know, this is such a fun event. You make it easy for people to come in. You make it affordable too during this busy Christmas time. But what do all these proceeds go to? Who does it help?
Well, primary fundraiser is Shriners Children's Hospital, but we also do fundraising for the Shrine Center. You know, it takes some funds in order to maintain the building and keep the operations going.
Okay, so it's a raffle. You can see and get into the Christmas spirit. Kids are welcome. Santa's here. For Fox 32 viewers, you have something special for them if they do come in this week.
Absolutely. Anybody who comes in and mentions Fox 32 gets 10 free tickets. So they can come in and select any one of the trees or one of their favorite trees and drop some tickets in. So come on in. After you're done doing the Black Friday shopping, we're here. We also have a tree that's $500 free entry that we're going to be giving away to some lucky winner.
Wow. You know what? I love this. It's getting me in the Christmas spirit even before Thanksgiving, a little early start. All right, we'll have more information about this event on our website, fox32chicago.com. Just look under links you saw on Fox 32. I will send it back to you.
Thanks for that, Gabby. The Bronzeville community is rallying behind businesses hit in a string of recent burglaries. Over the weekend, people came out in force to support Sean Michelle's ice cream after thieves broke into the shop days ago. The first 100 children get a free cone. The owner says he is just grateful.
Most importantly, I was really grateful to God because it could have been much worse. And it just showed me that we have so much more work to do in the community, just to make our community a decent and a better place to live.
His shop is not the only one. Sip and Savor Coffee Shop and Ain't She Sweet Cafe on 43rd also were burglarized. They're calling for the community to continue to step up. This investigation into the burglaries continues.
New allegations against Meta and more shutdown, delayed data, and the infomercial star running for Congress.
We're going to have more on that and today's business headlines.
At Post.
Want to bring you back to some breaking news. Illinois Congresswoman Lauren Underwood giving an update on her visit to the ICE facility in Broadview. She's been the first congressperson let in. Let's listen in.
Who is essentially the staff director of our subcommittee. So it's one staff person and myself that toured this Broadview detention facility. What I saw, there were no detainees present. They said that they had a couple processing this weekend. The last time they had anyone overnight was, quote, a couple weeks ago. We met with the acting director of this facility, who will be departing at the end of this week. And beginning next week, there will be a new director who is coming in from the Washington, D.C. area. Okay. That director is in charge of this facility and the downtown processing facility and a 6-state region. I don't know all 6, but it's Illinois, Wisconsin, Indiana, Kansas, Missouri, maybe one more, Kentucky. What else can I tell you? We saw all of the holding cells. They are segregated, male, female. Each of them has, the largest I would say has probably 45 chairs. They look like kind of plastic or poly covered, low, like a sofa chair almost, multicolored, almost like primary or preschool colors. They have a television, and the largest holding cell had 3 showers. The shower works. And then each holding cell had a toilet. The toilet was not in any way anything that any of us would be comfortable using, certainly not in an area that is open to others. Okay, there's nothing at all comfortable. It does not meet what I would consider to be the minimum criteria for a detention cell. And the staff people from ICE were clear with us that they are under no legal obligation to meet those criteria because this is not a detention facility. This is a processing facility. And so there is obviously ongoing litigation about the conditions in the Broadview facility that are, again, unacceptable given that we know that people have been held here for days, multiple days on end. We did not see detention officers. They were all gone. The ICE leadership that we met with said that they were, quote, they were updating their security systems and installing new security cameras, and so all detainees and staff were not present, basically. So there were some security guards, you know, that like are at the entry to do the mags and scans, and then these leaders, which I believe is challenging. For the first congressional visit in years, this facility has not received, or let me rephrase, despite members of the Illinois delegation making repeated requests over the last several months to be able to visit this Broadview facility, they said that no member of Congress has been here for years. The last time they believe was Senator Durbin several years ago.
Congresswoman, based on what
Yes.
you saw today,
Yes.
based on what the officers told you, I know that you said there were no detainees present. Do you believe what you saw today, the working showers? I know the toilets you described as not comfortable. Do you have a reason to believe those showers were working when detainees were here? Is that something you asked the officers about? Do you get the sense this was staged for you, or were the detainees able to use those facilities?
They had signage in English and Spanish saying that detainees could use a shower at least every other day upon request. That same signage said that detainees could receive bottles of water for free with meals and upon request. They said that detainees were fed meals of Subway or food from Walmart, or if the local facility that detainee was transferred from, if that facility provided lunch, that's what they ate. They do not have a food vendor like on contract. There are no medical contract. There's no one providing medical care. They had one package of Huggies. They had some sanitary pads for menstruating women, and they had foot powder.
I'm trying to read. Do you feel like there was a point even to
conducting this visit now that we know there haven't been detainees here for a couple of weeks? I mean, it's the fact that this is when they let you in. Like, what's the point?
What's the point? What's the point is that over the summer, Donald Trump and Republicans muscled through the big ugly bill, which includes north of $150 billion for ICE and related immigration enforcement agencies, and that money is being spent here. So, for example, the staff footprint in this facility and the downtown processing center is slated to probably triple by January. Really important. They don't currently have enough desk space. This facility had been, prior to Inauguration Day, open, or maybe open's the wrong word, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Now they're 7 days a week. They're moving to 3 shifts. They are increasing immigration enforcement at that rapid rate. The American people need to see what's happening in our community and the conditions under which people are being kept, what's happening in the name of the United States of America, etc. Oversight is essential, particularly in this moment.
You feel like there was still a point to going now when we know there weren't?
If I didn't go today, no one would be in there. If I didn't go today, no member of Congress would have been in to see this facility.
But it's not a coincidence, right? Because now is when they finally let you.
So
Is that your
I insisted. Okay, I think the timeline, just to really be clear, we made our first request in September to come to this facility, which was denied. And then when the shutdown happened, we're repeatedly denied. And then the government was funded. The funding, I think, was signed into law on like a Thursday. We were back in Washington Monday through Friday of last week, right? So this is the first business day that I've been back home with them fully funded, and we insisted on coming. And they said no several times. And, yet they want more money, right? DHS is on a continuing resolution. What does that mean? That means that this department is temporarily funded through January 30th, and they want our help to pass a full year funding package to give ICE more money. And I was like, let me rephrase, I'm being very casual. And so I shared with them that, they need to start being more responsive. Where's our briefings? Can they start returning some phone calls as we're inquiring about the status of our constituents? We can't even get information about where people are. We need to be able to come in and see the facility. And so for that reason, I'm very encouraged. We have a lot of other facilities we want to see, including the HSI facility in Lombard, including the facility downtown. There are no detention centers in Illinois, ICE detention facilities. All the flights, many flights are going out from Gary, the deportation flights. And so, a lot of folks from our community are being taken throughout this 6-state region. I will also say we asked very specifically about U.S. citizens and where in the process are U.S. citizens being held, are U.S. citizens being, their paperwork being straightened out, and they insisted that ICE, which they are delineating from Border Patrol, has not arrested any U.S. citizens for immigration violations.
Congressman, I'd like to read between the lines here.
Yes.
The day you come for the visit, there are no detainees.
Correct.
There are no detention officers.
Correct.
What does that signal to you? That this is performative or that this is the new normal?
What this signals to me is that they understand that what has happened here over the last 60 days is completely unacceptable. And they understand that that goes against every expectation that the American people have for immigration enforcement within the United States.
But did you get a fair look at what actually life is like in there for these detainees? Did this feel productive?
It looks terrible. It is not a place where you want to spend time.
Congresswoman, they're
Yes.
calling this a processing center. They don't call
Yes.
it a detention center.
Yes.
That is contrary to everyone who's been in there that we have been able to speak
Yes.
to. They said they've spent days, several days in there. At what point, from a congressional standpoint, is there a push to refer to this as a detention facility if that's what people inside say that it's being used for?
Right. So they said that their internal policy says that people should be held for 6 hours max. That's a broad view. policy. Their ICE regulations say that people should be held for 12 hours max, and that policy, the 12 hours max policy, was waived in June of this year. Okay, so then that could be like when you can consider that processing versus detention line being blurred. However, just because the timeline was waived, they are not subject to any type of minimum standard for like beds. So for example, I saw 8 adult cots, like 8 adult bed pads that could be like a cot. If you go into a detention center, they have actual beds. Okay.
Imagine like there being more than 100 people there, you know, which is what we had a couple weeks ago. What do you think that would have been like based on what you saw?
Unsanitary, uncomfortable, loud, noisy, smelly, because there's 3 showers, period.
Which weren't working back then.
You know, there's probably 6 toilets accessible to the detainees for that number of people.
What's your communication been like for your constituents who have potentially been in here? Had any contact with family members or people who have been in there?
Our constituents are calling the office every day, seeking help, trying to locate loved ones, trying to get medication to loved ones, trying to get the documentation to prove, you know, whatever to help their case. And it has been unacceptable, the level of non-responsiveness that we have received from the department during Operation Midway Blitz in particular. And no one should be treated this way. Like this should never be happening in the United States, and certainly not in our community.
Was there any conversation by those inside in terms of improving the situation in case there is another wrap up in March, as has been, you know, mentioned?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. They are trying to triple the staff. They are pursuing contracts for temporary office space. So I'm assuming trailers, right? I mean, if you look at this area, and you can imagine where they could stand up some temporary office space. But that's an assumption. We were not that specific. They have plenty of money. Okay, let's just start there. When you talk about a sum of money like $150 billion, they have plenty of money to spend. What that means for an ordinary American is that typically this agency is funded every year. So the Congress would have to work and do our work on time for this agency to receive funding. If there was another shutdown and ICE didn't receive another dollar for whatever period of time, they would still have that $150 billion to be able to hire and bring in these temporary structures to continue to grow immigration enforcement across our community. That's what that means. They are trying to complete a contract for a private detention center in Kansas that our Illinois folks would be sent to. They said that there's limited space for female detainees, so they're all basically going to Kentucky right now. Right? That's what that money can do, because they have this unlimited resource, basically. He had a question.
Follow-up, and then we'll take a couple more questions, guys.
Quick follow-up. Do you plan to insist on a visit with the detainees present? And also, given what people who spent time in there have reported, do you believe this needs to be called a detention center and held at the standards of a detention center?
I believe that the standards need to be improved. And I understand that there's ongoing litigation that would then enhance those minimum standards, which we are monitoring very closely. I intend to be back to this facility, and I have made a request to visit all DHS facilities in Illinois, and I look forward to the administration granting that request. And obviously I have been to a number of like Border Patrol, CBP, those types of facilities along the border, and will continue to do that kind of oversight as well.
Did they make a commitment for ongoing monitoring, or is that still?
They are not the people that make that commitment. Yeah, these are local staff. And
well, in arranging this with Secretary Nelms, obviously didn't make the commitment was just to let you in.
Correct. Yes.
What do you expect will be happening here in the spring? Border Patrol is gone. The National Guard is left. Illinois. What do you expect? Like, will this be booming with dozens of people who are processed?
Border Patrol is not gone. Mr. Bovino might not be here right now. But according to these folks today, Operation Midway Blitz is still a joint operation between Border Patrol and ICE, and they have not received any instruction around an end date. And so I would not make any kind of assumption or categorical statement like that. And obviously, if there were folks in processing last night, they are continuing to detain people, maybe not at the same rate, but maybe so. Maybe they just knew we were coming today and wanted to clean it up, and they'll be back right after the holiday. I don't know. But I would not make those assumptions that there's any kind of delay or reprieve.
Can you clarify the security camera thing? You said that there were
Yes.
detention officers and no detainees.
Right.
Because they're updating the camera.
They're upgrading their security system today.
And so where would these detainees be? Or they haven't counted them in several weeks?
Well, no, they said that people were processing last night, and then today they started the system upgrades.
But where are the people that were processing last night?
Presumably they were, I don't know, but yeah, they're sent to detention out of state, or maybe they were transferred to downtown.
Did you know going into today that there was not going to be anybody here?
I suspected, and then I talked to Mr. Kelly from the Illinois State Police this morning, and because they helped coordinate getting in, and he told me that there were no detainees.
A lot of folks are curious, where is Midway Blitz at this moment in time? Based on the information you have from your constituents, your tour today, where are we in the peaks and valleys right now of these raids going on to collect people?
I believe that nothing has changed in terms of constitutional right violations. You know, the way that we've seen them being DHS and ICE and Border Patrol stomp all over the Fifth Amendment right to due process, to be more specific, that has not changed. Obviously, we know that there continues to be a high volume of people being arrested and detained. They being the ICE local leadership that we met with today, made a distinction between U.S. citizens being arrested for impeding ICE or people who are arrested for the protests that happened right here. They made a very specific statement around doxing of officers and ongoing investigations of that type, right? So clearly they are still actively engaged in the community. And there are still U.S. citizens being caught up with these immigration enforcement agencies. And, you know, I am not here to reassure anybody. Okay, I probably should have said that from the beginning. I'm not here to say that this is okay, because it clearly is not. This is unacceptable. The way that immigrants and U.S. citizens have been treated here is unacceptable. And, you know, it doesn't make us more safe.
Do you have any sense of what the cost of this operation has been to date, or is there any way that you can... This will be the last question. Sorry, go ahead.
I did not ask.
Your headline today is what?
My headline today is that after years, the people's representatives were able to tour the ICE detention facility or ICE processing center at Broadview, and we have some, you know, ongoing concerns.
But it left you feeling
resolute, determined. You know, left me feeling like there's a lot more work that needs to be done. That there's, you know, information that people need to know, and you know, we're going to keep going.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
Okay.
So we have been listening to Representative Lauren Underwood talking about she is the first person in her position as far as a representative of Illinois that was able to tour that facility. As you heard, she had a lot to say, but to basically kind of concise what she had to say, she basically said it was terrible. It was not a place where you want to spend time. There were unsanitary conditions. It was uncomfortable, loud, noisy, smelly. Also saying there were a total of just 6 toilets, which is disturbing considering during Operation Midway Blitz, allegedly more than 3,000 people were arrested, although we have no idea how many people were actually held at that facility. We're going to have much more on this story coming up on the news this afternoon at 4 o'clock.
And of course, in Chicago Now as well, or Chicago Live, I should say, coming up on digital after this newscast. That's all for Fox 32 News at noon.
Thanks for watching, everybody. The news continues on Chicago Live. Anita Blanton will have more on that story and much more coming up, so stick around. Have a great day and hope to see you back here on the news at 4.